Hey folks, the Kingdom of Hyrule has always been a big place. However, it went from being a pretty big kingdom to an absolutely massive landmass with the release of Breath of the Wild. This installment in the series increased the map size by a ton, knocking every past game out of the park. This version of Hyrule can legitimately fit inside multiple past versions of the kingdom. It's huge. Being the biggest Zelda game currently, it makes me wonder just how big the sequel to this game will be. We know that to some degree, if not entirely, the sequel will be reusing the same map. And more. And more. And maybe even more that we don't know of yet. It's pretty safe to say that the sequel will end up being bigger in size. But how big? How big could the sequel to Breath of the Wild actually be? Well, it's certainly going to be big. Like, crazy big in terms of the Zelda series. So let's discuss the crazy size of Breath of the Wild 2. Be sure to go and grab yourself a snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here. And also be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out. And let's get into this one. To begin, let me expand upon what I said about previous map sizes so we all have a solid idea of simply how big Breath of the Wild's map is compared to the rest of the series. This is important to know when speculating about the sequel's map size. And across the Breath of the Wild 2 trailers so far, we've seen Link exploring the current Hyrule, so we know we will be able to explore it in full. With or without alterations, we don't know yet. What you're seeing on screen currently is a map size comparison that I found online, and to my knowledge, it is accurate. This is Breath of the Wild. This is Ocarina of Time. This is The Wind Waker. And this is Twilight Princess. Those free pass installments to the Zelda series could easily fit into the Breath of the Wild map multiple times. That's how insanely big a leap Breath of the Wild took when it comes to map size. And for another fun comparison, here's the Skyrim map. A very big game, but not quite Breath of the Wild big. So this is where we are coming from going into the sequel, an already huge map. Let's take a look at how much bigger it could get. There are currently two known areas that will expand on the current map. The Underground, that is home to the corpse of Ganondorf and this mysterious hand, as well as the heavens above Hyrule, with all of these mysterious islands. There is more potential for map expansion, but we'll get into that a little later on. Starting with the Underground, as it's what we saw first, how much could this expand upon what we already have? Well, there is of course the pathway to Ganondorf below Hyrule Castle. For all we know, this could be it. However, I am optimistic and think that there will be more underground to explore. Likely some sort of underground settlement / ruins, if we've seen a good few already. But if it was to be just the pathway to Ganondorf, that still adds something. Assuming we get to play that, it's likely that it'd be one big segment of a main quest line. Assuming it's not just us walking down a cave system until we're there, it'll likely involve protecting Princess Zelda, inspecting things as we go, and of course fighting off whatever enemies are down here. Maybe even getting lost a few times. Who knows? Making it a proper journey to the depths of Hyrule. The potential is there for Hyrule to have essentially an underworld, and that alone would add some insane size to the overall game, but we don't know for sure yet. Just that the potential is there, and we will at least get some underground to explore. As for the mysterious Sky Islands, these will definitely add a ton of new areas to explore. We can see from the few clips that we have that these islands vary in how high up they are, meaning that there are likely tons of these islands, ranging from near the surface of Hyrule to closer to space. All sorts of different elevations. Point being, there will be a lot. They're scattered everywhere and ranging in elevation. What we've seen so far appear to be smaller islands, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are much larger islands up here. I mean, we kind of see one in the distance, but that's about it so far. Possibly even settlements of some kind are up here. Assuming they are more or less spread across the same size of Hyrule, scattered islands from the lower elevations to the higher will make up a ton of new ground to explore. It's honestly a bit of a crazy thought just how much an already massive game world could be made bigger. But there is still more potential beyond here. Let's move on to that. I am now talking about the unconfirmed / unknown stuff, such as exploring beyond these cliffs, further into the desert, out at sea, and a little mystery that we'll get to shortly. I've talked about the cliffs, desert and sea before on the channel, so to avoid repeating other videos too much, I'll keep this part brief. That reason, and so we can get to the mystery. So these three areas have some potential to expand on. Literally. There could be a way that we can get up here and travel into the distance, possibly finding settlements, dungeons, or just land. The desert could be stretched a little further out, and some ruins could potentially be opened up to explore. The sea could obviously be sailed out into, and we could explore some of the islands out there. These are purely speculative ideas, but they do add to the crazy potential size that this game could have. Personally, I do expect at least one of these to become a reality. If I could pick, I'd go with a seaside adventure to some unexplored islands. What about you? Now, for the little mystery. Something that has been brought up by fans, but not confirmed by Nintendo. Yet. Could the existing Hyrule from Breath of the Wild be played in again, but in a different time frame? Many fans have speculated that the sequel could have some sort of time differences involved in regards to the first game. There have been several reasons for this idea pointed out, such as Death Mountain looking a little less active, the Great Deku Tree seemingly not being as present, monsters looking slightly different, the animal with Link and Zelda down in the caves looking awfully prehistoric, among other small reasons. If Hyrule takes place in a different time frame, in this case the past, whether that be for the entire game or for part of the game, that would add new ground to explore in a sense. Yes, it would be the exact same Kingdom of Hyrule, but it could be so different that it feels like a new map. I think it'd be a neat addition, but I'm not putting my money on it happening just yet. I'd also like to add the idea of that, whilst not adding more ground to cover it all, if we played in Hyrule directly or shortly after the events of Breath of the Wild, the kingdom could be rebuilt, or in the process of, making for a slightly different landscape than what we know. Combining the discussed potential of the confirmed underground and sky, as well as the unconfirmed potential of the expandable points of Hyrule, and of course the time frame, the potential size of this game is indeed crazy. We know it will be bigger, it simply has to be, otherwise we'd just be playing in the same map. The size of this game will be crazy. Mark my words. I will crack a whole box of eggs on my head if it isn't. It's only a matter of time before we find out just how crazy it will be. That is the crazy size of Breath of the Wild 2. At least in my opinion, and what I think will play a role in the crazy size. I do truly think it can and will reach a crazy size, but let me know what you think. Will the sequel reach, say, more than double the size of the first game? What's your take on this? Leave a comment down below, and of course be sure to drop a wee like down below if you enjoyed. Much appreciated. And also consider subscribing for more fabulous Zelda content. Both would make my day. Follow my socials linked below to keep up to date, and as always, a huge, massive shout out goes to all of my channel supporters. Your support really helps me to make these videos week in, week out, all month long, year round. If you'd like to join them and get yourself a shout out upon joining, then consider supporting via the links below. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.